Hello, Val investors. Thank you. Today I want to talk about Workday. So, Workday came out with some results that impressed investors as its guidance was stronger than people were expecting. Also, it's making a strong move towards profitability of concern amongst investors when it comes to Workday. Paying approximately 10 times forward sales, it's kind of like fairly priced, but I'm going to run through and let you think and you take away whatever you want. So here's the graph. So the graph is that Workday, since the last year's Q3 21, it had been decelerating its revenue growth rates. So it had been coming from 20% last year and steadily progressing down. So even though there was a beat on the back of its Q2 2022 results, it's a very small beat really, but anyway, it was up 15% year over year. So, investors would have taken that normally as a kind of, largely as expected. What was not expected was that its guidance is pointing towards the back end of the year, accelerating very close to 20%. So you can see here in the red arrows here that investors or the analysts following the stock were largely expecting Workday to be kind of in the mid-teens, 16-17%. So moving at scale to the investors. Now, this brings up the next question, which is, as we look towards the end of the year, so remember, Workday is right now in the halfway through the year, and it's pointing towards accelerating in the back half. That leads investors to believe that its exit rate from Q4 probably is going to come in close to 20%. Also, they got the 2-year backlog that they point out at 19% in revenue backlogs for the next 2 years. So it's coming, the indication is there that Workday has what it takes to be growing a very, very close to 20% CAGR. So that is something positive. The other thing that I want to point out is that within its revenue, remember, only 88% is coming from the subscription service. The other 12% is professional services, and you can see the two red arrows here. Is professional services are unprofitable, so investors are not going to put a lot of value on that, and you have to think about that when you think about not all its revenue is really subscription based. Okay, so that's something to think about. The other thing that I want to talk about, so there are these three dynamics happening, and that's why the stock really moved forward. So halfway through the year, it's up in its guidance. Then we're talking about, if you think about it, so in the next 2 quarters or so, Workday is going to be on an annual run rate of 6 billion in revenue. So that's, we're moving at scale right now. The other thing is that the stock has practically gone nowhere throughout 2021. So all that considered, any investor that's kind of left holding, those that haven't thrown in the towel yet, those that are left holding, are really despondent. It's not a stock that they're particularly excited about. So this is going to really change that dynamic. The other thing is that we're talking about Workday, they're really a platform for finance and human capital management. So targeting the biggest companies in the Fortune 500, and right now, over half of the Fortune 500 companies use Workday. So So one thing I want to talk about is that they're also moving towards GAAP profitability. So if you think about it, when they put out the Q4, so 2 quarters ago, at the end of the year, when they put out the guidance for this year, they were pointing for 17% non-GAAP profitability. Okay. Then last quarter they said, okay, actually going to raise that up to somewhere around 18 to 19%. And now this quarter they're saying, okay, we're actually going to come in at 21% non-GAAP profitability. So I was like, wow, that's fantastic, right? But then you have to keep in mind that they're talking about that they need to, the stock hasn't gone anywhere, so they need to motivate their employees. So they need to move stock-based compensation. That's going to drag down coming into Q4, they're really going to go heavy on the stock-based comp, so it's going to really drag down the operating margins on a GAAP profitability. But I wanted to put some numbers here. So fiscal 20, the GAAP profitability was negative 13.8%. So this is when everything is done and dusted, the GAAP profitability, stock-based comp getting in there at negative 13.8%. Then last year was 5.8% negative. So this year, even without stock-based compensation getting added in at the end of Q4, I think it's coming close to, very close to possibly negative 2%. So there is a clear movement here as it's growing in scale towards profitability. So I think that these are strong movements that are leading investors to believe, okay, they're just about a year or so before it turns GAAP profitable. So that's something obviously worthwhile considering. Now the stock is priced. If you think about this year, they're making approximately 5 billion revenue, and it grows very close to 20%. Next year, 26 billion in revenue for next year. That puts a 60 billion market cap stock at approximately 10 times forward sales. So amongst tech and amongst this kind of space, paying 10 right now in 2021, paying 10 times forward sales for this kind of company isn't particularly exciting. There are plenty of companies right now, particularly in the smaller caps. There's been a correction in 2021, and many of small caps are growing at faster than 50% on the top line, but then being priced as low single digits on the top line or to revenue. So I'll repeat that. There are many companies that are growing at faster than 50% CAGR and priced at, let's say, 5-6 times forward sales. So it's not really exciting. On the other hand, as I discussed already, Workday is moving towards GAAP profitability, which cannot be said at all from those other smaller cap companies. So it's a fair price that I'm trying to say that Workday is priced at. If you want to find out what kind of stocks I'm interested right now that I'm particularly excited about, check out my marketplace. It's called Deep Value Returns and Seeking Alpha. You're welcome to do a totally free trial to see if it suits you. Come in, talk to the investment community, and I've got a price hike coming in September. So if you get in before that, you get in before the price hike, which is obviously a great deal for you. And you're welcome to check out my reviews as well. I've got loads of 5-star reviews on my marketplace. So yeah, so I would like to see you soon. And yeah, hopefully you stick around after the trial. See you soon.